What's up everybody, this is Butterfish Tank, and today I'm bringing you an update on my Nano Reef tank. And as you can see, I got a new addition, and this is a Sleeper Goby, and he has been in here for 4 days now, and he's doing very well. And you know, he hasn't been coming up with any diseases or anything like that, and he seems very healthy. When I got him, he right away started eating. He was very active as well, and he dug a little hole for him to sleep in. That is actually under this rock right here. And he cleans the sand, and he has cleaned the whole sand bottom, and he's just doing great. And the other fish are doing fine as well. The dotty bag is doing fine, chasing the fish as usual. The chromis is swimming around, catching all the plankton that they can get as usual. And you know, they're just doing awesome. So you know, everything's doing good. And this goby is really awesome. I've always wanted a goby because they might be doing a little bit of a sandstorm. As you can see right here, the sand is the tank is getting pretty cloudy. It was a lot more cloudy the first days, but it kind of like settles after some time, because when he just comes into your tank, he will dig like crazy, and he wants to make a burrow where he can sleep and live, and he wants to clean the whole sand for any worms, spaghetti worms, amphipods, copepods, anything like that. It will eat anything that is on the top part of the sand. But what some people will say is that it's damaging to your coral reef, but actually you can see that the sand is kind of divided up in different layers, and there's the deeper part of my sand bed has the top really clean, and you can see that is where the goby has basically dug out. And underneath that you'll see lots of small worm caves and a little bit darkish sand, and that is basically where all of the small critters will live. And remember, I also got a sun refugium with lots and lots of copepods and amphipods, and they're just everywhere down there. I just checked again, and I've found at least 20 more, so they're breeding like crazy. And you know, that is beautiful, so I'm really happy about that. And you know, he has been catching some amphipods. I've seen him eat some, and sometimes actually an amphipod like crawl out of his mouth, and they will like run away, and he can't understand where they have gone and things like that. He's really entertaining to watch. A really entertaining, funny, comical fish. Very beautiful as well. It's not very visible with this camera. I don't want to go too close because he's kind of afraid of me. If I do too many movements, he will of course move. But on his face he got blue and orange stripes, and that is really beautiful. He of course camouflages himself with the sand. The dotty bag has actually not really chased him a lot because he can't see him. The dotty bag can't see the goby because he's basically so well camouflaged with the sand, so he can't really see him. He actually goes down to the sand bed and looks directly at the goby, but he can't see him. So that is kind of cool. And you know, he hasn't been chased more than once, so he's doing very well. No diseases, no white spots, no strange behaviors. Everything is fine, so that is awesome. And next Thursday or Friday, I'm going to see if I can get the two clarkii clownfish that I've reserved at my local fish store. So they have been in there for a little over a week after that, and I always make sure to reserve some fish just to see how it goes in their tank, to make sure that they are also healthy and they're not newly transported, because this is a big mistake that I see many people do, even experienced aquarists, and I think it's so stupid that they go to a fish store that has new arrival and they'll basically just buy the fish, and that doesn't make sense, because if the fish hasn't been like quarantined or been in there for some time, they are not sure that they can actually get some diseases without you being able to see it. So let them keep the fish for a little while, and they'll get a lot more used to the situation as well. They'll get a lot more comfortable, and they'll be much more comfortable in your tank as well. And I just wanted to give you guys that little tip. I'm going to make a video on how to introduce saltwater fish, because I've had many problems with parasites, diseases, different things like that. And I actually made a topic on freeweave.com. Go check out that forum, amazing community over there. Go check it out. There will be a link in the description. And you know, they disagreed with me a lot, because the fact that the things are very different over here in Europe, because here in Denmark it's actually illegal to use medication in tanks, and if a fish stall is caught using medication in their tanks, it will be closed immediately. It's illegal, and the reason for that is that we don't like copper. We don't want copper in our medication and things like that, malachite and different things like that. And medication is just illegal for home aquaria. So, you know, that is not possible over here. But what they said is that over in the US, they many fish stores use, well, most of them stores use medication. And therefore, if you mix the water the way that I do in my acclimation process, it can cause some of those copper and things like that to go out in the water. And I completely agree with that. That is horrible to put into your tank. You should never do that. But if you got a fish stall that doesn't use medication or has anything bad in the water, this method is the absolute best. And I really mean that. It's the best method that you can use. It's the least stressful way to acclimate your fish. And I just wanted to say that, and I'll make a video on that. And there's also a topic on free weave that is going to be in the description, so remember that. So anyways, let's talk about this goby for a while. This is a sleeper goby, and they're usually known for actually being very active. And what I mean by active is that they always sift through the sand, and they do that constantly every day, many hours a day. And you'll see it out actually most of the parts. So you'll always see a goby that will sit on the bottom, clean the sand, and your sand will just be perfectly white. Just look at this. The sand is just like this everywhere in the tank, which is what I always wanted. And I'm really happy for that. But my sand is very fine. So there's a lot of sand that is stuck around the rocks and things like that. But it hasn't really disturbed my corals. It has only disturbed my green star polyps. But I usually just give them a little blow with a turkey basil, just to make sure that no sand has been stuck between the coral that can actually disturb it. And it is more open now after I've done that, so that is good to see. And it's doing fine. It's growing like crazy. That green star polyp is just amazing. It's growing everywhere. So anyways, you know, I'm really happy that I got this goby, and I think they are really cool. They are carnivores, so that means they will only eat meat. And what I mean by meat is amphipods, worms, copepods, different things like that. And he will sift through the sand and eat things like that. And it's really, really fun to watch, actually. He's a very comical fish. And he's a lot more interesting than the rest of my fish. And when I get the clarkii clowns, they'll love my sea bay, because, you know, they're known as sea bay clownfish. And my sea bay has been doing really well lately, so that is great. I'm showing some great, it's the white thing in the back right there, if you're wondering. It has been moving a lot, back and forth in that hole right there. So don't know what it's doing right now. It might be going up on the SPS corals and sting those, so I might have to remove those at some point. But I don't know. By the way, the Montipora is doing very well, but the Acropora is not doing very well. It's not growing a lot, so that is kind of sad, but else it's fine enough. And you know, I'm really happy that I got this goby. I think he's awesome. He's a very comical fish, and I can watch him all day. He's just awesome. So I might be doing a care guide on this guy in a later video. But I want to keep him for some time, so I know a lot more about this species, which I always do. Just to make sure that I give you guys the right information and things like that. And you know, so I'm really happy that I got this guy, and I'm really happy that I acclimated the way I did, because I've used that acclimation method since I got my dotty bag, and I've got 0 fish losses with that that acclimation process. So that is really, really good. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So yeah, see you guys in another video.